Mike here from Mountain Wellness, and let's talk about asthma for a minute. I do not personally have asthma, but I know many athletes that do have asthma, and that the effects of their having an asthma attack during certain types of sports, or even just simply, in your day, maybe stress, different things that can trigger an asthma attack. There's an emotional, there's obviously a physiological component, but also an emotional component. And one of the things that I've learned from studying Patrick McKeown, read his book on asthma, is a simple way of gaining control over your breathing. And of course, we only teach nasal breathing in our course, but nasal restricted breathing is a way to reduce the amount of airflow. So you're not getting a ton of air in, breathing through the mouth, and inefficient breathing. Of course, there's a number of reasons we have in other videos about how basically I consider mouth breathing dysfunctional breathing. So one of the acronyms that he has is low, slow, and deep. And low, slow, and deep is literally breathing lighter, slower, and deeper. See, some people, I think, confuse the deep part with trying to take a ton of air in. And that is not what the goal is. The goal is actually to get the oxygen deeper. And that is done through nasal restricted breathing, and it gets deeper into the lungs. The oxygen is better prepared for the lungs with humidification and warming the air, and also there's a little bit of nasal nitric oxide mixed in there. A lot of things that are happening that allow vasodilation to happen smoother and more efficiently with nasal breathing, especially once you've made the transfer to nasal breathing. And so we want that air deeper into the lungs because that is going to improve oxygen efficiency. Another thing that we would like to see is a better tolerance to carbon dioxide. If you don't know this, you have somewhere in the neighborhood of 120 liters of CO2 in your system and only a few liters of oxygen in your system at any given time. And we know now that carbon dioxide is an essential part of oxygen delivery to all of the cells in the body. So the goal there in the low, slow, and deep is, again, to try to smooth out and simplify and basically control your breathing to help with the onset of different kinds of asthma attacks. I just talked about this with a friend of mine who had a son who was out on the trail in a cross-country race on the trail. And if you think about the conditions of that, he's running, trying to win. He's got someone in front of him and someone in back of him chasing him. Those are physiological. The nervous system may see that as a fight or flight and begin to have the emotional component of being chased and running. And then also hyperventilating through the mouth, because he's a mouth breather, so he's hyperventilating heavily, causing constriction, taking in a lot of cold, unfiltered air, very unhealthy to breathe that way. All of those things are setting him up for a condition for an asthma attack. And he had one, hadn't had one in years, and then he had one when he was out there running. So we know that there's ways to reduce the onset of an asthma attack. And these are some of the ways that we go about doing that in slower breathing, lighter breathing, but also deeper breathing through the nose.